Hey, Sherry. Glad you joined. Kind of an impromptu live. I haven't had a chance to be on here lately, but I got a little free time. I moved twice in 1 week. First to a different house, then to a different city. Can you hear me okay? I'm going to wait a couple of minutes and give a chance for people to see that I'm live in case they want to come in. Because I just did this on the spur of the moment. Good, good. Because I don't have anything unpacked. It's me, my laptop, and this monitor. Hey, who else is here? I see two now. Whoever you are, welcome to the live. One more person, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Well, we can just go ahead and get started now. This first case is Zirena Bryant, and she's been missing from Indianapolis, Indiana since last year. We're coming up on about 10 months now, 10 and a half months that she's been missing. And when she, thank you, Sherry, thank you. When she first went missing, I had spoken with her mom for a long time. We were on the phone about 2 hours, and she was supposed to come live to talk about her daughter and what was going on with her. But we had some technical issues that first night, or actually more like some scheduling issues that first night that she was supposed to come on because I was trying to do it at a time that was convenient for her. And there's like an hour time difference between us, and I got stuck at a doctor's office. So I wasn't able to get there in time to get home in time to have her on. And then I guess she changed her mind. She stopped answering her phone or whatever. But her daughter is still out there. And I just wanted to put her face back out there because I know that her case really didn't get much attention. Like, I really didn't see anyone else cover her case except for Arctic Fox. I asked him if he would make a video about her, and he did. Um, I really haven't seen her on any other channels except mine and his. And this is not a case of a child running away because they're being abused or mistreated. Her mother came across as a very loving and caring parent, a very concerned parent who's trying to do right by her children. She has Zirena, and then she also has a younger daughter that's, I want to say, about elementary school age. And this instance is more of rebellion, not wanting to follow the rules, wanting to literally wanting to be grown. And so Zirena ran away, but we know in our circle that children who run away tend to a lot of times be in even more danger than children who are kidnapped or abducted or taken by a parent or even a stranger, because these children are, there's no telling they're running away too. They may think that they know what they're running to or what's out there. She's from Indianapolis, Indiana, and it's a big world, and so she really doesn't have the experience to deal with what's going on out there. It is definitely true that she is being sexually exploited by adult men. Um, Her mother spoke to me in depth about this, and um, Zirena she has TikTok, but she changes it up, makes new accounts, privates them, and different things like that. Um, but every once in a while you can catch it, and lately she's just had it all private. So, but at the beginning, you could catch some of her videos sometimes, and she would be in different bedroom situations and different states of undress with obviously adult males in the background or in the pictures with her. Um, So she is definitely endangered. It's been like 10 and a half months, like I said, getting close to a year that she's been missing. Um, She is still active on TikTok. I just tried to look up her account and follow her, but it's privated. But on the Google search, I believe it showed that she was active like very recently, like just only a few hours ago. But I just could not see it when I went to her page, and I did follow her. Hey, in the bushes, I did follow her on TikTok, hoping that that would open up her profile to me, like it does on Facebook, but it didn't. So I wasn't able to actually see anything that she's posted, and even the videos that she likes are locked down on private. So I will make and post a flyer of her and post it on my community wall. And I would really appreciate it if everyone would just share, share, share. She's also on NCMEC, so you can look her up there if you want to just copy and share that. Hi in the bushes. If you want to just copy and share, screenshot and share her information from there, since it's more in depth and it's very concise, so people have an opportunity to just see um, her information, absorb that, and contact information for the various law enforcement agencies that are involved. Um, so yeah, this is Zirena Bryant. She is, I believe, she is 16 now, 16 or 17. But she's been having runaway issues for a while. I think her mom said the first time she ran away, she was like 12 or 13. So this has been an ongoing issue. It's just her wanting to buck the system, not wanting to abide by house rules, and putting herself in danger out there. These grown men are just using her, and there's no telling what could happen to her in situations like that. You know, just because one grown man doesn't exactly hurt her, as in abuse her physically, punch her, hurt her, kill her, doesn't mean the next one won't. Hey, Sleuthy. So she she really needs to be shared more. It is beyond time for Zirena to come home. It is beyond time for her mother to be able to rest at night knowing that her child is home safe, or even in a detention facility, wherever it is that she has to be, where she's safe and no one has to worry that she's out there in danger, maybe dead somewhere or whatever. It's time for Zirena to be found. All right, so I looked up some of our better known cases as well, just to get an update on them. And I'm going to start with Summer Wells, because this said that the investigators released an update. This is old. I didn't even check the byline because I had searched for updates in like within the last month. So that's old. We're gonna go ahead and X that one out. But the newest update is that the court has decided that the Summer Wells Reward Fund, the entire thing, will go to the Child Advocacy Center that it was originally slated to go to. So we're gonna watch. Hi, B Tim. So that is the latest on Summer Wells. At least we know what's going to happen to the money now. I really wish that they had left it up at least for until the 2 year mark. It doesn't seem like it's. Hold on. It doesn't seem like it's done any good. Nobody's come forward with any real credible evidence or any solid leads so far. So chances are they probably won't ever. But I didn't share the sound. Oh, okay. Hold on. I can fix that. I know what I did wrong. I shared the window instead of the screen. Hold on. Here we go.
An agency that helps abused children will receive thousands of dollars donated to the Summer Wells Reward Fund. Good evening. I'm Josh Smith.
I'm Sarah Diamond. Court
No
documents
tomatoes.
reveal that was the decision of a Hawkins County judge last week. The reward money donated by the public in hopes of generating leads in the search for the 5-year-old girl who was reported missing by her parents June 15th of 2021.
Well, despite an Amber Alert and a year and a half of intense searching, Summer has never been found. Without a resolution in the case, questions arose about what should happen to the approximately $40,000 in an account administered by the Churchill Rescue Squad.
Yeah, the rescue squad asked the court to intervene to resolve any legal disputes. The judge ruled the Children's Advocacy Center of the 3rd Judicial District alone will receive the money. Summer Wells, 7 years old.
And her Amber Alert remains active tonight. Credible tips can be phoned into the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND or emailed in to tips2TBI@tn.gov.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't realize I shared the window instead of a tab. But yeah, that's the latest on Summer. Now I have questions though about the dollar amount, because you remember it was at like 30 something thousand, and then the YouTubers got together, a set of YouTubers got together and raised some more money, and that brought it up to over 72,000, I think. Now, I'm trying to remember the initial amounts that were donated. If I understand it right, was totaled at about $35,000 from these two initial donors. Now, their 35,000, they may have set limits on to where it comes back to them. And then the rest of that could be there was like a $5,000 donation, and then a bunch of small donations, and the donations that the YouTubers put up. That could either or, somebody ain't putting the money in. Somebody didn't leave the money in there. And I don't know if it was the initial donors or if it was the YouTubers. Okay, Smooth Mom says the initial donors pulled their checks. These tomatoes better be fresh so I can make some soup or a salad or something. I'm trying to tell y'all. Don't be throwing no rotten tomatoes at me now. Play nice. Play nice. All right. The next thing I want to share. Now, this is a case out of Louisiana. An Uber driver is missing. And this is from the other day, March 21st. And it says a Louisiana man, Kevin Moore, 59, hasn't been seen or heard from since leaving for work Saturday, March 18th. Authorities are now asking for the public's help to find him. Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office is asking for the public's help in finding Kevin Moore, a Hammond Uber driver who has been missing since Saturday, March 18th. Hold on, guys. All right. So, Back to where I was. Kevin Moore's family reports he was last seen leaving for work last Saturday, driving a white 2019 Chevy Spark. According to WDSU, Moore never showed up to work and no one has seen or heard from him since. If you have seen Kevin Moore or have any information as to where he may be, please contact Sergeant Matt Dean of the Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office at 985 345 6150. And let me get his picture back on screen. Sorry, guys, I'm working without a mouse. It's packed up somewhere. So this is Kevin Moore. He's an Uber driver. He's missing. Apparently, he must have like a regular job and then Uber as a side, because you don't really like show up for work would not be a phrase you use to describe driving for Uber. So he must have like a regular 9 to 5 that he didn't show up to. Tangipahoa Parish, you have the information. If you've seen him, if you think you've seen him or his 2019 Chevy Spark, please by all means contact Sergeant Matt Dean at the Tangipahoa Sheriff's Office. All right. Next up, let me refresh this page before I load it up. Yeah, poor Summer, man. I'm like, it's time. It's past time for some kind of information. I just can't believe it's been almost 2 years now, and there is absolutely no credible information about this baby or what happened to her or who may possibly have done anything. I mean, honestly, I feel like that if there was any evidence at all that her parents had anything to do with some hurt or harm coming to her or with her disappearance, I believe that by now those authorities would have just took everything that they had and really pressured Don and Candace and come up with something, scare something out of them or whatever. And the fact that they've said that they passed their polygraph tests, even the body language, the body language guys on YouTube, I can't remember their name, even they said that they were reading truthfulness in Don's body language. They weren't reading deception in his body language. Dr. Phil basically said the same thing. It's not the parents, you know. And I think that so much attention was focused on them just because of who they are and what they are, how they present to the world or whatever. And I think a lot of time was wasted in that whole witch hunt to Dawn and Candace. I'm saying Karen, to Dawn and Candace. But hopefully something will come about and we'll find out what happened to her. Yeah, I think so too, because in the beginning, it was said that Summer was last seen walking away from her home. So I believe somebody scooped her up. Whether there was some accident, she got hit and they grabbed her because they didn't want to get in trouble, or they saw a kid walking down the street and took advantage of just the random opportunity to take a kid. You know, I don't I don't know, but I don't think Don and Candace had anything to do with that. Now, in the beginning, I wouldn't really express that for the simple fact that so many times it is the parents. But then the more things went on, I was pretty much sure that Don had nothing to do with it. But I was shaky about Candace, about whether Candace or her mom had anything to do with it. But now I'm fully on the train of Candace and Don and Candace's mom have nothing to do with Summer going missing. I mean, you got to think about it. How many registered sex offenders did we find out were in that area that took the time to actually check in like they're supposed to so that people know where they are? That's not including the sex offenders who are just passing through. Don said that's a high drug area, you know? And so we don't know what was coming in and out of Ben Hill area, the Beach Creek area, chasing dope. It could have been anyone, you know. And I just hate that it happened in such a rural area, because had it happened in a city or in a more populated area, then there would have been all kinds of Ring doorbell footage and CCTV from different businesses and everything else. I mean, these circumstances were just so unfortunate for Summer, to where there's just not information there that we know of. But really, there's just really not information there. There's nothing solid like I said, like Ring doorbells or CCTV from businesses or whatever, because there's hardly any people that even live there. The houses are so spaced out, you know? And if you think about it, in a regular neighborhood, not everybody has a video doorbell or CCTV, you know. And what is it, like 8 to 10 houses per block in a regular city block? They're spread out. So you might have one house for every 8 to 10 in the city. So I don't know. I don't know. I just really hope that we'll get some information on Summer real soon. All right, Cody. This isn't really so much an update on his story, as there's a local woman who is planning a permanent tribute to Cody, and I just wanted to kind of share that. I didn't actually read the whole article. I kind of skimmed through it and another article that kind of touched on it. So I just want to play this video from the local news station about the excuse me, about the permanent tribute that's planned for Cody.
It's been a little more than a year since 4-year-old Cody Bigsby was reported missing from Hampton, but advocates in Hampton Roads and across the nation continue the search for the young boy. Brenna McIntosh spoke to one supporter who's rallied to create a permanent tribute to Cody, and Brenna is in the studio now. Brenna, what is she trying to do?
Eugene, today I spoke with We Are Cody's Voices organizer, Nancy Strickland. She told me she's followed Cody's story since he first disappeared, and she hasn't given up hope that he'll return home safe.
For Nancy Strickland, this is more than just a playground. It reminds her of 4-year-old Cody Bigsby, who police say went missing from Buckrow Point Apartments in Hampton more than a year ago.
My heart hurts. It does. My heart hurts. Just knowing that this is the area that Cody went missing from.
Strickland says she's been following Cody's case since the beginning. She says his story struck close to home, as she has 2 young grandkids herself.
He's 757's child. You know, he is the community's child now.
For months, Strickland has planned to make a permanent tribute for the young boy at the playground of the apartment complex where he lived. This week, Strickland received what she called the best news of her life. That news, she got approval for Cody's tribute from the Buckrow Point Apartments property owner.
I mean, I broke down and cried.
Strickland says the tribute will include a flower garden, an engraved bench, and a plaque with Cody's picture on it. She says she came up with the idea for the bench because right now, the apartment's playground doesn't have a place for parents to sit and watch over their children.
Children go missing, you know, they get snatched up, they get kidnapped every day.
Strickland says the plaque with Cody's photo on it will also have a poem.
It's going to say, Cody, although we never met, no matter where you are, we truly never part. Forever in our hearts, we love you from all over the world.
Right now, Strickland says she's still working to raise money for Cody's tribute. In the studio, Brenna McIntosh, 13 News Now.
Just like we expected, the New Orleans.
That is so awesome and amazing that she's trying to get that together. I mean, Cody's case really, I get so frustrated with it because it seems like everybody in the world has more care and affection toward this baby than his own family. His family is not out there advocating for him. They're not out there looking for him. They announced a reward for him and turned that into poor Corey's dad pity party. You know, I mean, so kudos to her, to Nancy, and to everybody that's involved with trying to put that together, because I mean, that's one kid that really and truly, like, Summer got lost in the shuffle and all the drama that was surrounding her, but Cody really did get lost in it. Yeah, that reward thing really told you where they were coming from, because if they were trying to offer a reward for Cody in earnest, they would have been talking about Cody. Even when his own aunt was asked to describe him, she just gave some generic, oh, he was just a normal kid, he normal average toddler. Are you kidding? I could tell you more about my neighbor's kid. I could give you a better description of my neighbor's kids than she gave of her own nephew. And aunties are supposed to be on it. Like, you're supposed to be the one that spoils the kid, and your brother or sister is telling you, man, quit doing that, quit spoiling them. You know what I'm saying? Aunties are like the next best thing to grandparents when it comes to how much attention they pay to their nieces and nephews and how much little special stuff they do for them. You know what I'm saying? I can sit here right now and tell you all kinds of stories about my favorite Auntie Lydia when I was growing up, things she did. She introduced me to a love of reading when she read me The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. She also introduced me into loving like horror literature too at a very young age. But I mean, you would think that an auntie, if no one else, an auntie would be able to tell you more about her nephew than he's just a normal kid. Come on, man. This one, I am not going to go over, but I am going to put the link in the description because I think it's going to be interesting reading. It's called The Mysterious Disappearance of Cody Bigsby. Is the father a suspect or a victim? So this one will be in the link to this video description if you want to take the time to read it. I'm going to read over it. I might talk about it on another show, but I don't really want to give his father a whole lot of airtime because I feel like he gets enough. He's had enough focus on him, so I'm not going to be publicly just, hey, let's talk about Corey. Not going to happen. However, we will. Oh, I didn't even show that. Hold on. I am so not used to using a computer without a mouse. Let me share this real quick. Yeah, he really does. He gets way too much airtime considering that Cody is the one that's missing. So this is the article, and I just wanted y'all to see that part of it. I'm going to, like I said, I'll put that link in the description if you want to. You can read it for yourself. The article itself is pretty short, and then there's a lot of links, and you got some photos or whatever in here and some videos. So it could be interesting to do when you have some spare time. I do have one more Cody video that I want to share. And this is a former Norfolk police chief is commenting on the investigation. So let's watch that.
Welcome back to our special coverage on the anniversary of the missing of Cody Bigsby. And we're joined by our law enforcement analyst, former police chief, Larry Boone, to discuss the impact of, it's been a year and so few developments. How does this make the investigation going forward more challenging?
Well, I suspect that the chief of police here has put together a team of investigators that will be in a position to receive tips. I'm sure they're following up on those tips. I know a couple of weeks ago, a tip came through regarding some possible human remains behind one of the schools.
Yeah, and it turned out that it was just animal bones, but it spread like wildfire on social media, and they brought out a full team to investigate, but it turned out to be animal bones.
Well, we'll get a few more of those type of, I hate to say this, false alarms. As I stated previously, I think the Hampton PD and the FBI, and as well as those other agencies, have done a really good job in narrowing down the proper person of interest.
And so, speaking of the person of interest, there's only been one named person of interest, and that's Cody's father, who has been very consistent in his story. How does that make the investigation going forward challenging? I mean, right now, he's only being held on unrelated child neglect charges. At some point, those will go through the court system, and then what?
So, it's been my experience, folks that commit may have a hard time keeping it to themselves. Most folks are good people, and at some point, if he hadn't already, he's folks that commit this type of crime have shared some information with someone out there. I suspect very strongly, Kurt, if he hadn't already, he'll slip, and that information will be held against him.
All right. Our law enforcement analyst, Larry Boone, former chief of police in Norfolk, joining us. Thank you for this. For our special coverage, we will send it back to you in the studio.
So, yeah, not really much to that, but I did want to share that video with you guys. Yeah, I know. I mean, we know he's gone. He just needs to be found. Right. Right. And he deserves to be found. He deserves to be found. He deserves to be laid to rest with dignity so that the community that cares for him, not necessarily his family, but so that the community who loves and cares for this boy so much can at least come and, even though it's not like he'll know they're doing it, pay tribute to him, leave teddy bears or whatever for his headstone, or, the things that people do when a child passes, because a child is not supposed to die so young, not under these types of circumstances. Illness, maybe, but just because some adult can't adult, no, it's not supposed to happen that way. So, all right, our last kid tonight is going to be Madalena. Yeah, Cody is definitely the 757 child. Everybody up there loves him. That community deserves so much kudos, praise, and appreciation for everything they do, and have done, and will continue to do, because they're not going to stop until he's found. They're not going to stop until there are some answers out there, And I can tell that just from, it doesn't matter who it is that they interview, whether it's some random person on the street, or a law enforcement agent, or one of the BLM, or some foundation. Everyone who has spoken of that child, you can tell how deeply his disappearance cuts their heart. And that community deserves all the praise they get. So lastly, Madalena. I'm going to play this video for us. And I know this has probably already been covered on some other channels because it's kind of old, where they were talking about the possibility of trafficking or smuggling, and something about her mother is supposed to have asked her family if they had a way to smuggle her and Madalena out or something like that. So here we go with this.
Has now been 108 days since Madalena Kojikari was last seen publicly. Updates from police and the FBI had all but stopped, really, until we got our hands on new search warrants yesterday. They showed the investigation could be taking a new turn here. WCNC Charlotte's Chloe Leshner is joining us live tonight to talk about this. So, Chloe, you talked with two law enforcement experts today. Did they say anything about the information in this search warrants that we found?
Yeah, hey, Vanessa, the search warrants that we got through the courts yesterday introduced this idea of possibly drug or even human trafficking in this case. And both of the experts that I spoke with today say this definitely broadens the investigation, but it presents some new challenges too.
From the start of the investigation, Madalena Kojikari's mother maintained she did not know where her daughter was.
We all know that if we don't recover somebody within the first 24 hours, the trail starts getting colder and colder.
Now, 3.5 months later, it's clear police have known she asked a family member to help smuggle her and her daughter out of their house and away from her husband. According to the U.S. State Department, 41% of human trafficking cases are facilitated by family members.
Unfortunately, it happens more than we care to to recognize.
In Madalena's case, the search warrants also show an apparent connection between the family member Diana was talking to and people known to be involved in narcotics trafficking. Law enforcement consultant Roy Taylor, who is not involved in the case, says this gives investigators more people to look into.
Now we can start looking, kind of doing a Venn diagram of family members and known associates and friends and their involvement in drugs. So it gives us another investigative tool and give us more hope that the young girl's still alive, and maybe she was able to be smuggled out of the local area to other relatives or family friends that are keeping her safe.
Several experts say untangling the web of a human trafficking ring can be extremely tedious and difficult.
It's a needle in the haystack.
Now, I did speak with a Cornelius police captain who is involved with this investigation on the phone today. She said it is still an active investigation. They are still asking people to share Madalena's picture and anyone with information to give them a call. Live in Uptown, Chloe Leschner, WCNC Charlotte.
So many layers building with the story. Chloe, thank you.
All right, and one more. We're going to call it a night. This one, this article, I'm also going to put in the link for the description. Put a link in the description for this one. That's what I was trying to say, but my words got all chopped and screwed. Because it has this really neat interactive timeline. Let me get this up on screen. But it has a neat little interactive timeline here that you can click on. If you see down here at the bottom, you click on it and it'll take you like to this little bit of information. So this was last seen by stepdad, and it gives you the date and a quick little synopsis. Click on the next one. It'll tell you the date and a quick little synopsis. So I think this is really well put together. It's a really good way to keep track of this case because I'm really sure they're going to keep this updated. It's also a really good way and very simple and to the point way to get caught up on the case for those who are not already familiar with it. I did want to say though, I kind of with it coming out that apparently the mother was asking to be smuggled out, her and her daughter, it kind of brings to mind something that I said before, that maybe the mother was afraid of the husband. And maybe there was some type of situation going on there. Because I remember talking about how she said that she didn't mention that Madalena had disappeared. She didn't mention it to her husband until he came back from his road trip because she didn't want to start like a confusion or have a confrontation with her husband. And I found that so odd because why would informing him that your daughter and his stepdaughter is missing cause any type of an issue? That has always stood out to me like a sore thumb. Like that just doesn't make sense. You know, if I'm married to a guy and his daughter comes up missing, he better well tell me. Like, why would I get mad at him or have some type of animosity or there be a problem because his daughter's missing and he told me? That doesn't even make sense. There has to be a reason that fear is present in her. And just back to what I also said about the I know they're not mail order brides, but these guys get wives in foreign countries. And I told you about my neighbor who was married to a Filipina woman and she had a daughter. And then there were some Filipina ladies that I worked with. And just based on what I saw in those circumstances, those women seemed like they were so under thumb. You know, one of the Filipinas that I worked with, she was married to an American guy. He would come on the job all the time. He would pass by, come walk through the store, past the area that we're working in, or even come up to the counter and like kind of talk to her for a minute. But it wasn't like, oh, I don't know. I didn't get the vibe that it was like, oh, I really miss my wife. I just want to stop by and say hello, bring her a flower or something like that. It was more like, more like letting her know that he's got eyes on her. You know, it was a weird kind of vibe. And like my neighbor that was married to that Filipina chick, um, she seemed like she was afraid to even come out of the house without his permission. Like if they were going somewhere, even if their door was wide open, she would not step out of the door until he stepped out of the door, and then he kind of signaled to her to come on, come on, get in the car, and she would scuttle straight to the car. Like she wouldn't even look at you. And so, I don't know, just seems odd. And I kind of get that vibe from Madalena's mom. What's her name? Diane. I kind of get that vibe from between Diane and Christopher Palmiter, because just that one thing that I said, like it sticks out as a sore thumb. Why would your missing daughter cause confusion or confrontation with your husband? Hey, PJ, I missed you. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna put this link in the description as well. Be sure you go and check out that timeline, bookmark it, because I'm sure they're gonna keep it updated. It's a really, really good way to keep up with this case and what's going on in it, and dates and people, who's who, the cast of characters. Yeah, so that's all for the show, guys. I'm glad I got a little time to just come out and hang. Uh, Things are a little more settled, so I'm probably gonna be able to be more regular about being online and being more active in the community. But I've had so much going on. Like I was really grinding, and I was really working on that project for those two brothers that I told you about. And so they're getting some paperwork lined up that they need in order to be able to apply for that grant. I'm so glad about that. Um, but I just been grinding, like when all that happened back in 2020 that I told y'all about, and me and my ex or whatever, I went into a serious depression. And one thing that I did that I never do is I just let my truck go to hell. I haven't done anything to it or taken care of it, cleaned it, washed it, none of the stuff that I usually do. But I'm really glad that I've been able to just get back to myself, a bit more with the passage of time. And so I just been grinding it out. I got a lot of work done on my car. I did the oil change and brakes and rotors, shocks, struts. Just I really put some effort into it, and because that's my baby. I love that truck, and when I really looked at it and I saw the condition it was in, really kind of made it just sink in for me just how low into a depression I had been for quite a while, because my truck never looks like that. You could eat off the floor of my truck on a normal day. So yeah, I've been doing Big Baby some justice lately, because she's hung in there with me. I had a truck like 5 or 6 years. I mean, me and that truck have been through some stuff. You hear me? That's like a best friend type thing. I guess that's really all. As soon as I can, I'm not gonna schedule any lives right now, because I really don't know when I will be able to go live, because I'm working out of 3 cities right now. 2 of the cities that I work out of, I have access to internet and Wi-Fi and all that. One of the cities that I work out of, I don't. So I don't ever really know when I'll be able to, what I'm saying, depending on where I'm at. So, yep, you'll see more of me, but it will be spur of the moment, kind of like it was tonight. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with me and taking a look at these cases and this information. And I love you all. I will see you soon.